Welcome to part 3 of loading the customer dimension table. And in part 2 we ran into a problem about converting Unicode and non-Unicode. And so in this video we're going to correct that problem. Notice I'm just going to delete the connection between these, and I'm going to drag on a data conversion tool. Now there's lots of tools and tasks over here, and you really owe it to yourself to get to know these things. Notice I'm just going to make these connections back up, and I'm going to put the conversion in between these. Now what's happening, SSIS is not going to assume data conversions for us. In earlier versions it would, but no longer, because it really is dangerous business. So notice what I'm going to do here. I'm going to right click and edit the data conversion and tell it mentioned title and name, and I also know that gender is a problem, and it could be, now yearly income, notice I can check these by looking for Unicode and I don't see it there, okay? Birth date is database dates, that's not a problem. So I've got my 3 Unicode strings. Now what I'm going to do is, I'll show you why in just a moment why I'm doing this. I'll just take out these aliases. It says copy of. There's an easy way to see these a little bit later on. And then I'm going to change the data types on each of these to just strings. Data type string. And then we should be good, right? Well, if I try to run this now, I'm going to get the same problem. And I'll save you a step here by showing you that when I changed this, I actually didn't change the mappings in my destination. Notice I'm still getting the same problem. So if I go down here to my destination, edit that, and go to mappings, you will see that they're the way they were. But here's my converted columns, but they're not mapped in, all right? So I'm going to go grab the old version, and notice these are now marked LADB source title, and then there's a data conversion title. Well, this connection right here, I'm going to highlight it, right click it, delete it. I'll do the same thing with name, highlight it, left click, right click and delete, and then I'm going to do the same thing on gender, right click and delete. And so now I'm going to remap my data conversion columns. So I'll just left click and drag title up to title. I'll left click, drag name to name. How cool is that? And then I'll left click and drag gender to gender. Now, we've got everything taken care of, right? Well, apparently not. Notice we've still got a little alert here saying, hey, wait a minute, truncation may occur because you're trying to insert data from name with 101, and I need to go look, so I'll go out to my database and look. Sure enough, name's only 100 here. No problem, I say. I'll fix that. I'll right click, I'll go into design, and I will just change this. I'll change this to 105, and I already know I'm going to have a problem here. So I'm going to change this from 8 to 50. What could go wrong now, right? So I close this out to make the changes. I say yes. And now I've got another problem. Saving changes is not permitted. It requires the table to be dropped and recreated. Okay, so what's that about? All right, so I just lost my changes. Here's the fix for that. Tools, options, go into designers, and notice prevent saving changes that require table creation. All right, that's a Management Studio thing, trying to protect me from myself. Thanks a lot, Bill. So let's go back into DIM Customer. I just kind of jumped up there and made that change because, you know, I know all things SQL Server, right? And first time I ever had that problem, I said, no problem, I'll just jump up there, take care of this little problem, and, you know, be home by 2. No, not so. That's one of those things that when it happens, you spend a lot of time trying to figure out, wait a minute, what's going on here? You may have to go out and Google the thing, call a buddy, do something, phone a friend, figure out what's going on. And so now it looks like maybe we've got some things straightened out. Okay, I'm going to go back into here just real quick and I'm going to look at my mappings again and say okay, just to see. Sure enough, that took care of the problem. So now I will go out to control flow, and we want to limit this. We want this to happen first, so we will truncate that table, and then we will bring data flow down. We'll bring it down, then we'll run our data flow task. I'll double click that, and the data flow task is this, where I select the data right from the source. I'm going to do the conversion on a few of the columns, and then I'm going to insert them into the DIM customer table in my VTC DW data warehouse file. And so I will now execute this package, hold my breath, and let's see what happens. So there goes our execute SQL task. We're truncating the table. That succeeded. And there's our data flow task. And it's going, it's thinking. At this point, 90% sure we're okay. And let's see if there are any surprises. And just like that, we have now completed. Okay, so let's go check just to make sure. I will right-click the DIM customer table, select the top 1,000 rows, and see if we have our data. So you see what's happening. You have to just kind of feel your way through this process, see what's going on, see what pops up, and the more you do these, the more experience you get, and the better you get at this. And so there's our query. There comes our data, and we are now successful.